Back at it again, everybody. We are live. Episode, I don't even know what it is. I just know that it's been consistent every single week. I'm excited for this one, man. This one's going to be, we're going to really be dropping some gems here with my guest. I had to fly the guy out. I mean, he's not from Cali. Let me give him the proper introduction. I'm not going to take too much of everybody's time in this intro, but before I get to that, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, man. We're live every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Season 1 has been a success so far. Everybody's been giving me nothing but great feedback, and I'm just excited. Every single week I look forward to it because there's just still so many people that are in my inner circle that I want you guys to meet, and I want you guys to hear the story, and you guys will pretty much tie in why we are friends. And every single person that I have in my life that I really associate with, they all have a certain meaning to me. They all bring a certain side out of me, and they're in my circle for a reason. So without further ado, let's introduce, weighing in at 185 pounds from the Evergreen State, Washington, Erik Ruiz.
Yo, what's up?
How you doing, Chabon?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Welcome to Cali.
Thank you. It's good to be back, man. I always say this. LA's like my second home. I love it here.
Yeah, it feels good, right? It feels kind of different setting this time. I mean, I've been talking about the podcast for a minute, and now we're here doing it.
A minute, bro.
All the people close to me, I keep bringing it up because it's something that, with my inner circle, you guys knew what's up for a little while, but it was just a matter of putting it together. He did fly in for the weekend for some education for hair. Erik is a barber, for those that don't know. He is a barber. He is from Washington State. Just going back a little bit, we'll talk about how we met. I think a lot of people are going to ask that. So I met Erik maybe a little over 2 years ago. It was at an expo in the East Coast in Connecticut, the Connecticut Barber Expo. So if you guys are a barber, you guys know what that show is about. He recently just came back from it, but it's pretty much a Super Bowl barber event. So the biggest event, if you guys remember, if you guys have been following me for a while, that's when I released the S&D jackets, the black and gold ones. Excuse me. And I remember that he ended up DMing me before the show saying that he wanted to buy a jacket. He was going to meet me there. And sure enough, man, he was the first one there. He bought it, and you were pretty much just still a pup, a rookie in the game. It was your first year where you're really getting yourself out there, and we met, and we pretty much hit it off right away. That's kind of how that went. So what do you think about that?
It was I was a few months into barber school, actually, and it was different the way I went about it. I just loved being around that kind of atmosphere. I went to a few shows and I loved it, so I wanted to keep going. And like you said, CT is the biggest barber show in the world, the Super Bowl of barbering. And I met a lot of people, and I always tell people, you guys should always go to these kind of events, not just for education, but networking. Networking is the biggest thing. You never know what could come out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you did say, I wanted to buy the jacket. I was actually the first to buy the jacket. And then from there, we just started talking. And then, I ended up helping up at the booth. And then we just grabbed dinner, and that's when it really went down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because at the time we were just speaking about this, that, you were starting off, but I already saw something in you that you didn't see in yourself. And it kind of just grew from there. We did some cool stuff together. We did do the Sharp and Dapper tour. I was kind of already trying to get out of the game, but you kind of said, yo, you should do it. It's already there. We did an education tour. The pandemic got in the way, but there was a lot of fun times. But the relationship is still there, even though we don't hang out all the time. You're from out of state, but we still keep that close connection. And that's what I appreciate too. It's about, when it comes to friends, to me, it's more so I don't know how to explain it to you. It's just we could keep it cool without really seeing each other all the time.
Well, that's what it is. Everybody has to live their own life, and everybody has their own priorities, whether it be their job, their family, right? Their own life. So it's kind of hard to, I have people they get upset if you don't hear from them in a bit, but everybody's grinding. Everybody has to do their own thing,
Yeah.
It's you don't have to hit up somebody every single day. That's the thing. When you have good friends, you know that they're handling business, you're handling business, and when you guys link up, it's all love. We catch up, it's better, because then you share what's going on in your life, and that's what it's all about. Nowadays, when you call somebody your friend, it's it's not what it used to be like, oh, I have this many friends. Nah, like right
No.
now it's like a few select friends, and you know, you're a reflection of those who you're around. So I really only associate myself with people that I really look up to, people that I want to be like, people that are going to be inspiring to me, that fuel me. Sometimes, you know, like being out of state, it is hard because a lot of my friends do live out here in LA, and I don't see them as often. So sometimes, yeah, I can get unmotivated. It can get hard, but every time I come out here and I see you, I see, you know, people like Diego, Julius, Leche, Renji, like I see what they got going on, and it just refuels me, and I go back home with such passion for it again, and I just go back in. That's why it's like it's so important to, you know, be around the people that you want to be around.
Right. And that's it goes back down to like knowing when to get out of your comfort zone again and be able to step out. Like that trip, honestly, I remember I wasn't really trying to go at the end. It was like a shit show before I even got there because I went with Christian, and it was just it's such a hassle to get over there with all the stuff. I had to set up a booth, as you know, like that's just not that easy. But you know, a lot of good things came out of it. Obviously we met and we hit it off and we did some great things after that. So like just with that event, you buying the jacket meeting, it led to so many good things. Now here we are. We still got a bunch of stuff going on, but I mean, as far as our friendship, I feel like what I appreciate the most is something different actually from you, from the rest, because you've always kind of held me accountable or kind of gave me that push. And not a lot of people do that for me. Like a lot of people do not give me that feeling of like, damn, I got to be better. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that's something I noticed right away. Same for you. Like maybe even when I'm not doing hair, you still get inspired by me from other things that we want to accomplish in life.
Of course. And that's the thing, like as friends, like I don't care who you are, like I see you as a person and as someone as I care about. Like I want to make sure that you're doing well. Like, yo, I remember I telling you, like, why do you want to stop cutting hair, bro? We still have to learn all this. Like, you're not ready to quit. You know, like, we still got so much to do. And I remember just, like, messaging you, or we have phone calls like, what's up, bro? You still working on this or what?
Yeah. So you kind of get that little, you know, spark again. And that's why we ended up doing some stuff. And people really enjoyed the classes when we did them. Not to get too much into that, because obviously we could talk about several things super in depth. But, you know, it was good. I enjoyed it. And, you know, we continue to keep in touch even if we're far. Throughout the pandemic especially, like we both were going through different things. A lot of things changed in that time, but we would always, you know, do the voice messages, do the calls. And like, you know, people don't see this. Like some people might not ever even know I talked to you unless they see this episode. You get me? But we talk all the time.
It's funny because people are like, hey, bro, are you and Ulysses still cool? Because I know,
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I talk to him like almost every day. We
But it's
interact.
crazy, right? Because like that's just how much it's normal now to like just unfriend somebody or like just drop it. That's how you know shit ain't even real nowadays. You know, the real is always gonna last. And even when we did stop doing stuff together, I told you straight up, do your thing. You know, I got some other stuff going on that I'm gonna focus on, but go ahead and do what you want. And yeah, so on and so forth. You know, we went from there, but that's just a little background on like, you know, how we met. But really, you know, I know how you are as a person, but a lot of people don't really know that side of you. You know, on IG, typically it's just an image people see. Maybe they see you at a show, but they don't really know you in depth. So like, I thought it would be cool to bring you here, let people hear your story and just really touch on the topic of this whole episode, which is making sacrifices. And it's very easy to look at someone and say, oh, well, you're lucky, or man, you know, you got lucky, or I had literally just said that, but literally that, yeah. Like it's a common thing. I guess it made sense for me to say it twice because that's something you hear all the time. And, you know, sometimes it makes you look easy, but they don't know the shit that we had to go through to make it look easy. And I wanted you to kind of just like let people know a little bit about how you got started, how you were able to make a difference in your city. And then we just touch on that topic, sacrifice, because it's a little cliche because you hear it, but like people don't really know what it takes to actually make them.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me, bro. It's such a pleasure to be here, and you know, it's always a good time being around you and stuff that. So I appreciate you. And yeah, you know, people actually don't even know what the definition of sacrifice is. You know, first and foremost, like people think that like, oh, I'm going to sacrifice, you know, for example, going to the gym. If you don't like going to the gym, it's not a sacrifice. Sacrifice is giving up something of value or something that you want for something of higher value or that you want even more. Mm-hmm. You can't sacrifice something that you don't like. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, like Uli said, my name is Erik. I am from Washington State. I immigrant born, right? So let's start off there. I've always said this. I've had this conversation. For people like me, and immigrants all around. We're always at a disadvantage. You got to work twice as hard to be on an equal playing field, and you have to work 3-4 times as hard to be ahead.
Yeah.
And that's already like you're already starting off bad. You know what I'm saying? So, coming from like, you know, low class, you know, with parents, I was talking to Uli, like our parents did everything for us just to make sure that we could have a good future. You know, I went to school for nursing. You know, not a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of my immigration status at that time, I wasn't able to pursue it. And it was just like, I think that's kind of where everything started to shift for me, because I did start cutting hair in 2012, but just like as a hobby, you know, just cutting my dad and my brother and a few friends. And it's something that I just really enjoyed, but I never thought I would make a career, you know? And I think that's the best part when things happen like unexpected.
You connect the dots later.
Exactly. But you know, like typical like Mexican families, like go to school, get a good career, get a job. And that's what I was doing. I had no issues doing it. I liked school. I did well. I went to college, all that good stuff. But unfortunately, like because of that, I wasn't able to pursue it. And I felt kind of like down like a dark hole. Like I was like, man, I worked so hard for this. And now I couldn't do anything. It was completely out of my hands. And I was just like bummed for a while, bro.
Kind of hit like rock bottom.
Yeah, man. And
work all these years, and then you just kind of come to this disadvantage because of the fact that this is just like your status pretty much, you know?
Exactly. And I remember my dad was like, well, you got to get a job. And I was so mad. Like, how are you going to tell me to get a job? Like, you don't see what I just went through. But I look back now, and my dad was just doing what was best for me. Like, yo, like life isn't going to stop for you. Life is going to keep going, whether you want it to or not, but you got to do something. And that's kind of like, I started working with him. We did like landscape construction kind of work. We did that.
They're hard labor right there.
Hard labor, bro. Like I learned a lot about myself, not just physically, but mentally, and what it took, you know,
to get up every day and like chingarle, literally,
bro. Literally,
you've told me when like you hear that you hear that blower turn out, and you just like get traumatized.
I get PTSD from that kind of stuff, but after a while, you know, you kind of just get used to it. I did that for like 4 years, and throughout that time, like, you know, you get up early, you get home late. And like you just hate what you do, but you get used to it, right? And at that time, I was like, I think this is what was it for me. But I kept cutting. I just kept doing it. And eventually, like, I would come home from work and I would have like 10 appointments lined up afterwards. And I was like, damn, that's a lot, low key. And I was already tired, you know? So eventually I knew I was either going to have to make the transition. Either I was going to keep doing what I was doing, or I was going to transition into haircutting. So at work, I won't get too much into it, but I was up for a big promotion, management. Like I had worked myself from labor all the way to management. And when I got the promotion, it wasn't what I expected, bro.
Oh, you thought you were going to be like fulfilled?
I was just not happy. And you know what? I put in my 2 weeks. And it was the scariest because at this time I was already married. I had my baby. So I had a family to provide for, and I was so scared. I remember, I feel like as men, we like to be in control.
Yeah.
And when we're not, we get scared. So I was like, oh crap, like what do I do now? I was like, well, I just gotta pursue hair, right? I remember I had been saving some money. It was my birthday and I wanted to treat myself. But instead I used that money and I put it down to my barber school.
The best investment right there.
The best investment. And it was crazy because after a few weeks, my old job called me back. They offered me a bigger position, bigger money, but it was too late already.
Yeah.
It was too late. I was like, you know what? I can't go back.
Made your mind up.
Yeah, I'm fully invested, even though I wasn't making as much money at the time. Like it didn't take long for me to make more than what I was making.
Yeah, but then again, even though you were making less money, you were more fulfilled with a different value that wasn't money. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes people focus too much on the money part that they don't realize that they're gonna have more joy, more happiness, and
exactly. The money will follow.
Yeah,
the money will follow.
It's just like it's crazy because if you don't make, you know, let's say you never made that sacrifice of quitting the job, it's just like you were never gonna really know how far this would have taken you. So transition into that, you know, when you obviously quit, and how did you really pick up and start doing it?
So I at the time I was decent at fading, but that was it. I thought I understood some things. At the time, I think I thought I knew what I was doing, but like reflecting back now, I was like, damn, I really didn't know much. You know what I mean? The more you know, right? So I remember it was going to be like a barber show in Florida, Tampa, and I really wanted to go, but I was like, oh no, I can't. Like, you know, and then they started to release more information about the show and all the barbers that were gonna be there, and I was like, oh my God, I want to go so bad. So I texted my wife. I was like, oh babe, I want to go to the show. And I thought my wife was gonna, you know, I was expecting my wife to be like, oh no, baby, you know, we can't. But my wife was like, yeah, let's go. I got the tickets and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, what? And since that show, I remember it was like December 9th, 2018. I went to that show and I met so many people with a similar mindset that I was just hooked. It was like a high.
Yeah.
So I started going show after show after show after show, right? Now, that was like, that's easier said than done, right? That's when it really comes like, the way my schedule was back then, it was awful, bro. Like, I used to wake up at 5:30 a.m., right? I would wake up, my wife and my baby are sleeping. I'd start cutting at 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., get a few appointments in, then go to barber school from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., drive like an hour back with traffic, and cut from 7 p.m. to midnight.
I kind of remember that low key when you were in the beginning and you kind of were not really in control of your schedule. It kind of ran you, if anything.
It was bad, bro. It was bad. So I'd go inside like at 2, 3 a.m. I'd find my wife and my baby in the same position I left them.
Yeah, that's a trip, right?
It was so hard, bro. And I did that for months.
You know, like now when I go and I was just gone for a couple of days and like the kids are doing so many different things. You know, your daughter, how old is she now?
She's 3, gonna be 4 next March.
Okay, so Max is around the age too, and it's just like they're just changing so much so soon. And you know, when we're doing what we're doing in terms of work, like we're busy, so it just seems like time went like twice as fast when we were gone, and maybe it goes just as fast when we're there, but since we're so busy with other things that we don't really acknowledge, like the things around us sometimes, like as a matter of like being present, you know what I mean?
No, it's exactly
but
that.
It all goes back down to making the sacrifices for better tomorrows. And you know, you did that for a minute, you know.
I did that for like a year, bro. It was like, I remember like my wife used to tell me she felt like she was a single mother, bro, and that would hurt me to hear her say that, you know.
There's a thing with like relationships. I mean, I guess like a lot of barber you know, wives will relate if your husband or boyfriend cut hair. But even though this episode we're talking about hair right now, this just goes for anybody in any craft, right? It ties down to this. It ties down to the same thing about making the sacrifice. We're just sharing our story, but it's the same principles that apply
to any entrepreneur, anyone that's working.
You had
for
your
themselves.
job. You had your job. You were going to school, but you were still chasing after something bigger after those hours. And a lot of people stop at that, you know. So like that's really what gets you ahead. Working when others aren't, you know what I'm saying?
And that was it, you know, like you said, yeah, like I would come back and my daughter like could speak more words, and every time I left and I'd come back, I feel like she'd grown so much, bro. I was like, damn, I'm missing a lot. But like I remember I told my wife, I was like, I know what I sacrifice every day I walk out that door. Yeah. I know what I'm doing. Like this isn't for nothing. I'm not messing around. Like, you know, I would fly into LA literally morning of if I was taking a class, I would fly in at 6 a.m., get here at 9. The class started at 10. It ended like at 8. I'd go to the airport, sleep in the airport, go home the next day, land like at 9 again, and then start working at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was what it was. It was what was necessary for me to do to get to where I am today.
Yeah. One thing really, I mean, yeah, that you have to make the sacrifice, but your work ethic really has to be there too. And you put this formula together and, you know, as far as, you know, sacrifice, work ethic, consistency, and you really cannot fail. Some shit really might take longer, you know, but the end result is going to be worth it, and you're going to know what you put in. It's going to feel better. And I don't know. I feel like as you keep moving up, those little habits never really change because a lot of people sometimes still ask me to this day, like, why do you still cut? Why do you still go back to visit your shop? Why do you do this? And it's just because you know, in my shop, my presence is felt. Like my team just does a lot better when I show up. Out here, I'm cutting because I'm trying to establish something. I'm already thinking ahead of like eventually when I want to have something bigger. People have to really see that I'm still about this life. You get me? And like they want to be around that so I could build like a good team. So I understand why I'm doing it. But yeah, it still takes sacrifice. Like I could be home. I could be doing other things. You know, I'm busier now because like I really started to like expand my potential. And, you know, now I'm doing this podcast. I'm trying to be more active on social media with like influencer, like related things, even though I don't really like to say that that's what I am, but it does take a different type of hustle, but it still goes back down to the same shit of like actually making the sacrifice of willing to do it. Even yesterday, you know, I landed, went to Stockton for like 2 days, and it happened so quick that people are still like, "Hey, bro, you still in Stockton?" Like that's just, they blinked and I was already back doing another grind. You know, I came here, landed straight up, went to do an appointment, got home, showered up, cleaned up, and then I was just editing like another podcast. You know what I'm saying? And people actually messaged me about that and say, "Damn, bro, your grind's just different. You're, you know, like they see it." You know what I'm saying? And that's all it really takes, man. You just got to work harder than the next person, because believe me, when you're putting your feet up, there's somebody else working harder than you, straight up.
It's always, I remember I used to tell you that. I was like, if you slack, I'm coming for you. And it's
true.
not like we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? Like, I remember when we went on tour and they were like, "Dang, you've only been doing this for a year," but don't think about it as just 1 year. It's like, it's not about the time. It's about what you do with the time. If you're working 8 hours and I'm working 20, and I'm working 6-7 days a week, I'm like, in 1 year I worked 3 and you worked 1.
Yeah. You know
what I'm
for
saying?
sure. It's not even, you know, I think people think a year go by and like you're naturally supposed to just grow, but you'll be surprised when you put effort in how much it actually goes, like how far it goes. Like even just putting 10% effort every single day towards something, it's just going to make such a big difference. Maybe you don't see it from the day to day, but look at it in a matter of 3 weeks. You're going to just see your growth.
Yep.
And people are going to see your growth. And with me, I built this rep where like every time people see me, they just know I got some new shit going on. Or like, what else are you going to do, bro? I actually went back to Stockton this time, I told you, right? A month ago I went. Nobody knew about the podcast. This time I went, I already had 5 episodes uploaded. Yep. And they're like, damn. They're like, bro, that was out of nowhere. I kind of forgot of like how fast it went. And they were just kind of giving me props and just saying like, bro, damn, that came out of nowhere. Like I see it. You know, it's enough episodes for them to get a feel for it. And, you know, people fuck with it, man. That's the cool thing about it, that, like, you know, like I've been saying, you know, I'm just doing something I enjoy. It's very natural to me. And it's cool because I met so many people and experienced different things already, to where, like, I know that it's something that's going to really help and benefit those that are listening.
Of course, you know, and it's a proven statistic that we underestimate how much we could do.
Yeah.
You know, like, people, like, it's almost like they're afraid to win. You know, they don't want to they don't want to step outside their comfort zone. They don't want to try something. Like, who cares? Just do it. Like, we mess up every day.
Yeah, there's literally this thing that says, you know, people want that opportunity until it's presented in front of them. And I've seen that firsthand. You know, a lot of people claim that they want this, they want to make these changes, but yet when the opportunity is there, you kind of get stage fright almost. And it's like, I've always said it, man. The things that look easy usually aren't really the best ones. The ones that are scarier are always going to turn out to be better and more beneficial in the long run, because you have to adapt to those hard times. You know, they turn sweeter with time, you know?
Of course, everybody sees what we do. I talk about like social media and stuff, which is where everyone posts, right? It's like a highlight reel. When you watch highlights for sports highlights, they post exactly what that is, right? Highlights, they put when the shots go in. They don't post when the shots miss, right?
Yeah,
you know, people be like, "Oh, dude, I see what you're doing. Like, that's so cool. I want to do that." I'm like, there's no difference between you and I. I'm no better than you.
Yeah. It's
just the choices that you decide to make. People see everything now, like a lot of the stage work, a lot of the education, and they want to do that. Do it. Do it. You have everything that it takes, but people don't want to spend the long hours. People don't want to sleep in airports. People don't want to not eat.
Yeah. And they don't want to be away from family even.
Of course, bro. It takes a lot to do anything, right? Anything that you want to be good at is going to take an immense sacrifice, like whether it be family time, whether it be, you know, health. When you met me, I was pretty slim. I'm actually the same weight now, but I gained a lot of weight, like 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Because I was traveling every week and just taking a whole bunch of education.
Yeah, but you had to compromise a little bit because, like, yeah, you were succeeding here, but yet something else kind of had to fail. So you were willing to make that sacrifice to say, fuck it, like, maybe my health ain't going to be the best right now, but I'll get back to it later. You know, even leaving fam, like, I hate doing that too. Like, I'm so used to being with my family that
it's the worst.
That when you're not with them, it almost feels weird. But, you know, it's not like we're doing something bad. Sometimes people are away from the family and it's for the wrong reasons. You know, we're actually trying to, like, do something with ourselves, and that's a thing that, you know, at the end of the day, we understand what it's about, and you know, it's part of it, man. But you got to be willing to step up and not be afraid to you know,
have to do what you
be
have
that
to
person.
do.
Yeah. But, you know, speak a little bit about, you know, I guess giving somebody a piece of advice, you know, as far as making a sacrifice. Like it's easier said than done, but if you could tell somebody that's in a position right now where maybe they're not happy with where they're at, or maybe they have this curiosity of going after something, but they're just kind of afraid or stuck.
The hardest thing is starting. Once you start, it's like a snowball effect, right? So you have to start. You have to not second guess, like, oh, what am I doing? Is this really something that I want to do? All those doubts are going to kill you. Just start. Once you start, you'll see that from there, you'll see that you can do it, and you'll start to pick up, and you're going to get better. At first, like, you know, it's kind of like when you start cutting hair, right? Your first cut isn't going to be the best cut at all. But through repetition and through practice and through purposeful intention, like, you're going to get better, right? But that's it right there. Do everything with intention, right? With having a purpose. If you do something just to do it, you're not going to grow. You have to do it with purpose, with wanting to get better at what you do.
Well, that's a big thing. Like I've always said that the purpose and the intentional work, not like we could all work, but like if you weren't really intentional with it, there's really no meaning behind that work that you did. You get me? It's just like I could teach you a bunch of shit right now, but I bet you if you go over there and you don't really take it with you, it's going to be the same cut that you did last time.
Yeah.
But if you went with the intention of actually applying what I taught you, you're going to look at the difference right away. And like, it's like crazy when you kind of shift that mindset into making everything intentional. There's, you know, obviously a reason behind it, and it goes a long way.
I say the same thing too when I'm doing classes. I'm like, I could sit here and tell you everything that I know, but if you don't apply it, if you don't really take it in and use it, like, you're going to forget. It's going to be pointless, almost like a waste of time.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
You kind of start understanding life a little different when you understand how it works. Like the sacrifice part, like we already know how this shit goes, you know? Like we go to some type of event and like you already know the sacrifice that goes behind it. You already know what to do, straight to business. But like sometimes people just don't know what it takes. And I don't know, I started believing like, man, some people aren't really for this, you know? A lot of people have potential. A lot of people think this is what they want until they're there doing it. And it's just like, fuck, bro, like you're folding, you know, and the pressure just gets to a lot of people. And that's the shit that they don't see. You were talking about like watching highlight reels, right? And okay, you see this basketball game, you see the highlights, you watch the game, but you don't really know what's going on actually in the game in person. And you don't know about the preparation that it took to even get to that game to begin with. The certain players that were practicing that same day, all damn night, damn near, to get better for that game and shit. And like, you know, people just don't know. The grind always goes unseen, but
of course it's
don't shy away from it, because that's really, really the key.
Exactly that. Like people think, I tell people it's simple, right? It's simple but it's not easy. Simple and easy are two different things. Like there's no secret. There's no secret. It's just hard work, purposeful hard work, and application, right? There's no like magic to it or anything like that. It's just a lot of hours in whatever you do, right? Doesn't have to be hair. It could translate to anything, but it's a lot of hours behind the scenes, man. A lot of hours behind the scenes until something comes to light and they'll be like, oh, damn, like, yo, when did you start doing this?
Kind of like you keep watering the plant, you know what I mean?
I remember the first time I did stage work with you, it was at Modown in 2019.
Yeah.
I did my first stage work, and it was a good cut. I remember I walked down the stage and somebody was there and he was like, damn, bro, you came out of nowhere. And all I did was just like, I had a smile on me, because I was like, to him, it was like that. But to me, I knew how much I prepped for that moment.
Yeah.
You
And
know what I mean?
It's just a couple of minutes sometimes, but
bro, that's why, like, I tell people, like, enjoy, and this has been taught to me myself, you know what I mean? Like, I've learned this from other people. Like, you got to enjoy the journey. You got to, like, all those moments, like, of me just, like, working so hard, giving up so much family time, health, all that stuff. Like, man, it was so hard, but it made me who I am. And that's the beauty of it. Like, you have to enjoy all those times, whether they sucked or not. Like, once you get to a point, like, it's only for a moment. That prize, if you win an award, it's only for that moment.
Yeah.
Once you get there, once you set, like, let's say if I wanted to lose weight and I reached it, like, I reached it. But what about all that time that it took me to get there?
Yeah. And then what about after that too? You know what I'm saying? Like, to continue to progress.
Exactly.
Especially like as entrepreneurs, that's something that there's a lot of like memes about the life of like that we live, but it is true and you relate to it. But you know, it's crazy. And like now, you know, it sucks in the moment, but like once you get home and you do actually have that time with the family, it's like it's good because we were able to, you know, being married, to me it's important that even though we're together as a unit, you still have to be happy individually, because my happiness shouldn't really depend on whether you are happy or not. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to be happy doing what I'm doing. Now let's say I didn't sacrifice and I ended up staying and I didn't really go do what I want to do. I'm gonna just have that like grudge. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, shit, I should have went. I could have went. And it's just like, now I'm not even gonna be present right now when we're here with the fam. So that's why it's like so important to, you know, make the sacrifices, make schedules, like get shit done, but also make time for like you and your family too, which is something that you learned, you know, after making all the sacrifices. Like obviously when we had time to sit down and be in the pandemic, be home a little bit more, you started to value that time with the fam too. And I finally, like, I was happy to hear that from you, because I know it's something that was just kind of absent at one point. So when I finally heard you do it, I was like, now you know.
Yeah.
Like, so now we have something else in common, like that you understand now. And it's just like, it's interesting because like I had to learn that on my own a year before that, like maybe like 2 years before the pandemic, when I actually had Camila and I really took time off of work and I was only working 3 times a week. And, you know, maybe it doesn't make sense to some people, but now you being there, you know what it is, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it's all for something, right? Like when you give something up, it's for a greater purpose. Now, I told you, like, I'm genuinely happy. Like, I'm so happy right now. Like, I remember before I was a bit impatient. I wanted to get things done. I wanted to, like, you know, I was kind of getting too ahead of myself. And then that's something that the pandemic helped me a lot too. It helped me slow down. It helped me think. It helped me reflect on things, you know, right? And now, like, I'm working. I'm decently well established. You know, of course, I'm going to keep growing, but right now, like, I'm spending a lot of family time, man, and I feel like I'm getting those years that I gave up back. You know,
Yeah, it's almost like time slowed down a little
exactly. Bit. So, man, I'm having such a blast just spending so much time with my wife and my babies, being able to be there for her, and that was the whole purpose, right? Like, let me do this now while my baby can't remember, so when she does, daddy's gonna be there, right? Like, I remember I went on a flight to CT and she dropped me off, and like, it tore my heart, bro. Like, my daughter started crying. She said that she wanted to go with me, and that's the thing. I'm like, dang, she's getting older now. Like, she's starting to understand.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Daddy, where are you going? Like, and I remember I was like, yo, like, I was about to cry, dude. Like, just going into the airport to like see my little girl like that. But again, this is what it takes. You know, people say they want to get into an entrepreneur lifestyle like this, and you know, they really don't want to deal with what it comes with. It comes with more than what you think it does. It's hard mentally, physically. It's challenging.
The problem is, like, you know, comparing, like, let's say a 9-to-5 lifestyle to this. It's typically a 9-to-5. I was just talking to a client of mine. He does air conditioning, right? Now he says he eventually wants to get his own thing, but right now it's just easier. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have a couple of calls, they know where they're going for the day, as opposed to when you have your own business. You got to obviously trademark yourself, and then you have to pretty much word of mouth, get your clientele up, and you got to show up. And it's just like, it takes a lot more effort, but you know, it's not really going to get there if you're just comfortable and you don't really go after it. But, you know, usually with all my clients, no matter what they do, like, I try to tell them, like, do it, you know? And the good thing is now, like, you know, people really know me for that when they are sitting in the chair and I am cutting them. Like, you know, it's not just a haircut, it's also inspiration. So, yeah, that's kind of like what it takes, though. You know, it's simple yet so hard.
Exactly that. It's not hard to understand. Like, this is what you got to do, but doing it's a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? Like, I remember trying to explain that to my parents. You know, try explaining to your parents that you're gonna go travel for cutting hair.
Yeah.
Like, my mom was like, ¿qué vas a hacer allá? Solo Dios sabe lo que estás haciendo allá.
Ten cuidado, está bien peligroso. You already know what they be saying.
Right. But you know,
I was just about to mention the parenting thing too. Like, you know,
it's hard, you know,
like the parents, pues.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, it's hard trying to explain, like, they were like, you're just going to go mess around over there. You're not, what are you doing out there? And I was like, man, like, I told my mom, I was like, you know what, Mom, one day people are going to pay for my flight. They're going to pay for my hotel, and they're going to pay me to go out there to do what I do. And sure enough, man, a few months later, like, I was making it happen. I didn't know how. I didn't know when. like I just knew it was gonna happen.
You
know?
just applied yourself, and then like opportunity started to present itself because like you were showing face. You'd be surprised what happens when you actually just show up. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know what you're gonna run into, tying into when we met, and so on and so forth. But you know, parents, it's I think I've had a couple episodes where we kind of like talk about that, and it's just the background that we're in. You know, obviously they sacrifice a lot to get here, and it ties into the episode too. So their idea is like nonstop and labor, you know what I'm saying, or school, like one or the other. Either you're gonna go, you know, work your ass off all day, or you're gonna go to school
and work your ass off there. Shout out to Philly one time.
Yeah, shout out to your pops. It's cool.
Yeah, he's the most hardworking man I know, and I feel like that's where I get the work ethic from. But you know, to them, it's just like I feel like in our culture, in our background, like if you're not working physically hard, then you're not working.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying. So like it was hard to like get that point across. Like I'm gonna cut hair, and you know, like you know, to make 6 figures as a barber is almost like unheard of to the outside people. Like us in the industry, we know like making 6 figures as a barber is really not that hard.
It's not that far off, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But to try to explain that to someone who doesn't know the industry, they'd be like, bro, you're crazy, you're nuts.
Like even before, like when I started, I had uncles tell me, oh, you have to find something else that's just a hobby, like people are not gonna pay more than $10, $15. And I'm just like, bro, you know, like you do a cut, even 40 nowadays is cheap for me, you know, because like right now in LA I charge 100 and up. Maybe in Stockton I got up to like maybe like 60 and up.
Yep.
But that was still, you know, 60 in 1 hour, or if I knocked 2 easy ones out, that was at least like 120, 130 an hour.
Exactly.
Now,
that.
You know, moving forward from that, you know, it just takes time for like parents to understand. I had a funny story. Like my mother-in-law, I remember she, you know, she was so used to like just kind of see me cut, and people were even asked like, oh, like, ya no cortas pelo, you don't cut hair anymore. And I'm like, well, I'm doing a different kind of work. Like, it's not that it's any different in terms of hustle. It's just like behind the computer. So you just think I'm kind of like scratching my balls. You know what I mean? But in reality, there's hard work behind it. It's just that like in the older generation, especially Latinos, it's kind of like if I don't have a hammer and some nails, I'm not really working, you know? And I mean, they definitely see the grind like when I would be at the shop. But now being out here, I had to kind of change my ways and see what else I was good at, man. Like that's really what the fun part is to me. I've said this before. I feel like I keep repeating certain things because they just I carry with them, you know, with me every day. And it's just like I don't want to ever like be here in 5-10 years and not really know what the fuck I was capable of. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And like we really won't know unless we make the sacrifice and actually go for it. And you know, if you learn, it's really just an experience. And you know, well, that's what's the worst that could happen? You know?
Exactly. Like I know my clients that watch this are gonna not like what I say when I say this, but I don't want to cut 10 hours a day when I'm 60, 70 years old. You know what I mean? Like now I cut less than before and I charge more, but it's just like I don't want to do that. You know, I want to be with my family. I want to live a lifestyle that I want to live. And to that, like, obviously, like when you're growing, like, what's the point of working hard, right? I say, like, if I'm working hard and I'm in the same position I was last year, then I didn't really grow.
You just kind of were doing circles, not
exactly.
really progressing.
When people say, like, I have 25 years of experience, I'm like, is it really 25 years of experience, or is it 25 years of doing the same thing over and over again? Because then it's 1 year of experience. Yeah. If you're doing the same thing you were doing last year, you didn't grow. And that's it. Like if I'm still working 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, and like I didn't progress for a year, like then what did I do? Like I feel like so many people get caught up in chasing the money or chasing something that isn't really going to benefit them, and then they get lost in that cycle. And I was trapped in there for a minute until
I think we're all guilty of that, though.
Of course, you have to self-reflect, and it's hard to look in the mirror. It's hard to look in the mirror and tell yourself, yo, you need to change this. You need to fix this. You need to do that. Because I think that's the hardest part, to, you know, admit that we need work, that we need help, that we need whatever it may be. And self-reflection leads to self-progression, bro. If you're not able to tell yourself that, because 9 times out of 10, you're not a lot of people have people that hold them accountable. Like you don't have someone always like, what's up? Like, are you getting your work done? Or you do? No, we're grown. We're grown. We have to do that to ourselves.
No, it's funny because, you know, it's about looking yourself in the mirror, you know, accepting that, you know, there's change that needs to be made. Not everybody has it, but if you do have those friends, it's a matter of like being able to take the criticism and actually, applying it and being like, okay, like, like we know the shit that we do. It's just hard to admit it. Like there's this defense, almost like an ego that you have about yourself. But I've always been like that with all the people and that I'm around, and it's not always shit that they want to hear. But yeah, I told them like, bro, how old are you? Like 25, 26. I'm like, when's the last time somebody told you the shit that you got to do? Exactly. And it's just like, not even your parents tell you that shit nowadays. Exactly. So it's just like, really think about that. Like, as far as like your circle of friends, who are the people that really like tell you your verdades, literally, because that's what it is. And you got to make these changes, like, sure, and that's why, like, I think a lot of people value like me as a friend, because I do kind of like tell them what it is. And that just leads to better things, man. It's important to be open-minded and to be a student always, and to be like willing to actually listen. Like literally somebody said this, like, God gave us 2 ears and one mouth. Like we got to listen more.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it goes such a long way, man. Hopefully people from this episode actually take some of this up. I feel like we dropped too many gems. Like once I'm editing this, I'm going to be like, fuck, like what am I going to have, like 10 reels out of this, There's just so many things.
That's it right there, man. Like there's not too many genuine people in your life anymore. Like it's always something of benefit. Like if you're not benefiting them, then they don't want to be around. And we see that too often, right? Like, oh, you only hit me up when you want something, right? Like I tell my clients, like, hey, y'all only be texting me when y'all want to cut, but no one really asks me how I'm doing, which is fine, right? I understand, like, this is a business. That's why I never take anything personal, because I provide a service and you pay me for the
some
service.
barbers are in their feelings for sure.
Exactly.
And I think we've all been there. Like we've all had the moments where we get a little too attached. But once you understand that the feelings have to be out of it and it is business, you don't really hold anything against anybody. I mean, shit, I moved a complete different city. I probably, from my clientele, I probably kept in touch with 10, if that.
Yep.
Like 10, maybe they don't reach out, but like, I just kind of let things play out, man. Everybody that's supposed to be around you still will naturally like gravitate towards you. Nothing needs to really be forced. And I'm glad, I made the move and things work out the way they did. Maybe they didn't make sense at the moment because shit wasn't really supposed to go down. I would never see myself moving out of Stockton, but at the end, it makes sense. And, I feel like people, if anything, value me more now, because I was absent. So now it's like, shit, you're worth more. You know what I'm saying? Of course. And that's why I appreciate like everybody that continues to support when I do go back home. Even here, being now in LA, still making the sacrifice to like put time to actually show up for a day or two and provide a service. Even if it's one person, bro, I'll show up. Like, of course, people don't understand that. Like, sometimes they think, well, maybe he's not gonna come and shit. And it's just like, bro, like, it's not even a money thing. It's just more so like
your character.
I care about it, like I care about it. I care about like showing up and still providing the customer service. So it's dope,
That's what it is, man. Like I said, there's not too many people that I really hang out with anymore other than my family, and they know who they are and I love them. And everybody that shows support that I'm not as close with, it's all love regardless.
Yeah, they're part of the journey. Yeah,
exactly. But there's just not too many genuine people left. But that's what we were talking about this earlier. Like I think this translates to any industry, and how if you're gonna be successful, it just comes down to the core, human characteristics, the morals and values, like discipline, respect, responsibility. Like you don't lose anything in saying thank you and in smiling and making someone's, you know what I'm saying?
Making somebody's day, man. We actually were just eating breakfast. Before we wap it up, I wanted to just say how far along that goes. Like even just being nice to people, bro, saying a quick thank you, like have a good day. Earlier, actually, I cut one of my clients before I picked you up, and we walked outside and there was a lady, she was cleaning outside of the studio. She was watering it, and then she stopped and she looked like, oh, and then, my client was like, oh, he was like, thank you. You have a nice day. And she was like, oh, thank you so much. Like you could just feel that right away. It made her feel good. Like maybe out of 50 people that passed that day, maybe he was probably the only one that actually said that. Same thing with you at the restaurant. The guy brought us some cups for our iced coffee. A simple thank you, man. Thank you so much. And they just feel like, wow.
You could tell their face lights up.
Like I feel like
you don't lose anything in being a good person, man.
Crazy.
You don't lose nothing.
It literally takes the same amount of effort. It takes the same amount of effort to be good and to be, bad. Like it's the same shit. So why not be good? Why not be better?
I always say this, like the corniest quotes are always the realest. Like you hear some like the corny stuff, like treat others how you want to be treated, and you learn this stuff when you're like 3 years old, but it's literally like the realest things. Like how would you like to be treated? Would you like to be disrespected and talked down and made feel like shit? Like, no one wants to be like that. So why is it okay for you to do something like that and
even when people,
degrade people like that?
Even when people tell you, you know, thank you, it kind of just hits you, you know, like let's say you're going somewhere for, I don't know, boba or anything like that, a smoothie, and like the experience there and as they were nice, you walk out kind of like, wow, like this is good, but what I felt in there was even better, you know?
And that's what people don't get, and especially in the industry, that the barbering, the hair industry, like it's not how good you are at cutting hair at all. It's never going to be that. It's never was that. And it's not that now. Right. Like people, like when I get clients from other people, they'll rarely say that the haircut was bad. They'll mainly say like, oh man, the experience wasn't good. I didn't feel welcome. Like, guys, don't forget, like, we're in a service industry. We provide a service. Like, I have clients that really just don't care about their hair. They just come in there because they like the vibe, and they're the ones that pay the most for like a simple trim. Like, I think sometimes we our focus is in the wrong thing. Like, it's not just one thing. It's multiple things that come into one thing. But guys, just be on time, have a good attitude, right? We go back to what we just said, characteristics, like having a positive attitude, you know, like if you walk into a room and everybody's negative in there, you're going to feel that vibe.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like it does, like just come in there with a good attitude and you're going to see like that attitude, that positivity is going to gravitate towards everyone. And in return, you'll get that same energy because energy feeds off of energy, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
that's proven.
That's facts, you know? So it's just, be a good person every day. I'm grateful, man. Like I feel like, you know, we just went through something very, very tough with this pandemic, and that's why I tell you, like, I'm so grateful. Everybody's always like so thankful, like, oh my God, thank you for this, thank you for that. But when something bad happens, like no one's ever thankful. But people don't realize that we learn and grow more from the negative stuff than the positive stuff, right? Why doesn't everybody say thank you to, like, when we go through bad things, like, oh, thank you for allowing me to, you know, grow and see this
learn
through.
From this.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we learn more from those hardships than we do from positive stuff. Yeah. Right. We overlook that. And that's why I'm like, I'm grateful for good and bad, because at the end of the day, it's that helps me grow and it makes me who I am today.
And with the sacrifices, there's going to be good and bad moments. And it's just like understanding that both of those are part of that one thing that is the sacrifice, and being able to just like brush it off and keep moving forward, never back. Some people get hit with something and they just feel like it's the end of whatever it is that they were after, not really knowing that you're probably so close. So it's just important to literally, like you said before, enjoy the journey. Just kind of recapping everything we talked about. You know, sacrifice just is so broad, right? Like, you talk about the experience, right? Like maybe you're not really good at cutting yet, for example, or whether you do lashes or waxing. It doesn't really matter what your craft
whatever
is.
You do.
Whatever it is that you do, even if you are in any other type of business. But if you're not good with what you really want to be good at yet, but everything else, you know, if you're making a sacrifice to have better customer service, to get up a little earlier, to actually be on time, to actually show up and shadow other people that you want to be like, all that stuff that you sacrifice your time for is going to end up being, it's going to overpower the fact that you're not even good at doing what you're doing yet, because the person that you're actually helping or who you're doing it for is going to notice like, wow, like maybe this was okay, but I'm willing to come back because like I could see the drive in him, and I feel like he's going to continue to get better as we go.
Right. And then we'll talk about what it means again. Remember, it's giving something of a value for later down the road, something of greater value. It's always going to come back, right? You hear a lot of people say, oh man, that was really hard, but you never hear anybody say it wasn't worth it. Everyone that goes through it, like, yo, that was worth it. Like, I look back on these last few years of my life and I wouldn't switch a thing, dude. I would do it over and over again, because it made me who I am today, right? And like you like you said, like you got to keep working, you got to keep doing it, and then when you feel like giving up, that's when you got to push the hardest.
Yeah,
because you're so close, you just don't see it.
Yeah, just some effort, man. But you know, it's just it's almost like the same thing. Maybe now that you guys actually listened to this episode, if you guys made it through, I feel like there was so many good things that we talked about, but drop whatever it is that you guys felt was the most impactful message in this podcast. Make sure that you guys drop it here below if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys go back to the YouTube channel and comment, or drop a comment. I believe that you could drop a comment on, you could rate the podcast, all that stuff. So we'll just kind of wrap it up with that. Appreciate you for coming through. I know you had a busy weekend, but we made it happen. And just grateful for the friendship, grateful for the talks. I'm happy that now one is here recorded, because like we could always go back to it.
We talked about this all the time.
It's kind of weird. I don't really listen to my podcast until like later, and you know, I switch it up from the music, and I'm just kind of like, oh, like this was hitting, you know. And now we have an episode here, but any last words, and then we'll just kind of wrap it up with that. Anything you want to tell anybody?
Well, just again, thank you for having me. I had a great time. We just got to keep pushing, guys. Keep pushing. I know we're going through a tough time right now, but one of my good friends there, it's like right now we might not see it, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. We just got to keep putting our head down and grinding and working hard. I remember somebody told me like, oh man, I didn't know you were going through it too. Everybody goes through it.
Yeah, I was going through it.
Everybody goes through it. Don't ever think that someone isn't going through it. Some of the, biggest people I know in this industry go through it. So stay positive above all. Be thankful. I'm grateful for every single day. And we got to keep pushing. We got to help each other grow, because if we don't grow as a whole, then individually we don't grow as well. So
Yep. Hopefully this episode helped you guys out. Like I said, thank you for coming. Shout out to everybody in back in Washington. I got to go back soon.
You do.
But I don't know. Maybe we'll do an episode in the woods. That'd be crazy. Yeah. But I appreciate you coming through. And just keep doing your thing. If you guys made it through the episode, like I said, I appreciate you guys so much. Like I said, drop a comment, subscribe, like. We just keep going. We keep pushing. The consistency, it might seem a little easy when you guys see me upload, but I put in work, to really like make this shit happen, because it was something that wasn't happening before I even kicked this off. So I'm grateful for that. Appreciate the support. And we will catch you guys next time. You know how to do it.
I'm not even going to try.
Peace.